Have you ever wondered why a ball rolling on the ground eventually stops? Why doesn't it just keep rolling forever? It's because of something called friction. Friction is a force that slows things down when they rub against each other. Imagine trying to slide a heavy box across a rough, carpeted floor. It's tough, right? That's because there's a lot of friction between the box and the carpet. The rough surfaces bump and grind, making it hard for the box to move smoothly. Now imagine trying to slide that same box across a smooth, icy surface. Much easier, isn't it? That's because there's less friction between the box and the ice. Smoother surfaces mean less friction. Friction is everywhere, and it plays a big role in our daily lives. It's what allows us to walk without slipping. It's what helps cars to brake, and it's even what allows us to write with a pencil. Sandpaper is a great example of a material that creates a lot of friction. It has a rough surface that's covered in tiny, gritty particles. When you rub sandpaper against something, those particles act like tiny brakes, creating a lot of friction. That's why we use sandpaper to smooth out rough surfaces. The friction from the sandpaper removes small bits of material, gradually making the surface smoother. Think about what happens when you sand a piece of wood. At first, the wood might be rough and uneven. But as you keep sanding, the friction from the sandpaper smooths out the bumps and makes the wood feel nice and even. So the next time you see sandpaper, remember that it's a master of friction. It uses its rough surface to smooth things out, and it's a helpful tool for all sorts of projects. Ice is another material that's all about friction, or rather, the lack of it. You see, ice is incredibly slippery, and that's because there's very little friction between it and other surfaces. When water freezes into ice, its molecules arrange themselves in a way that creates a very smooth, slippery surface. This means there are fewer bumps and grooves for other objects to catch on, resulting in less friction. That's why ice skating is so much fun. With so little friction, you can glide across the ice with ease. Of course, it's important to be careful because that lack of friction can also make it easy to slip and fall. So, remember, ice might be cold, but it's a master of low friction. It's what makes winter sports so exhilarating and reminds us that sometimes a little slipperiness can be a good thing. Oil is a super slippery substance that can drastically reduce friction between surfaces. It acts like a tiny layer of slippery balls between the objects, allowing them to glide past each other with ease. Think of it like this. Imagine trying to stack a bunch of marbles on top of each other. It would be pretty tricky because they'd keep rolling around, right? Oil works in a similar way. Its molecules are slippery and don't like to stick together, which makes surfaces coated in oil very slippery. That's why we use oil in machines like cars and bicycles. The oil helps reduce friction between the moving parts, which allows them to move more smoothly and efficiently. Without oil, those parts would rub against each other, creating heat and wear and tear. So, the next time you see a bottle of oil, remember that it's a friction-fighting superhero. It helps things slide smoothly, reduces wear and tear, and keeps our machines running smoothly.